I think Call of Duty Black Ops 6 could break records for the franchise, for Game Pass, and, well, for a lot of different categories of player engagement numbers, sales. There's a lot of ways that I could see Black Ops 6 blasting through any of the previous records that the game holds. And there's a handful of things that actually back me up in thinking this. I did a little check this morning, and if you go to the official Call of Duty YouTube channel, their Call of Duty Black Ops 6 gameplay reveal trailer, or whatever the title is, if you sort their videos by most popular, it is now the most popular video on that channel. It has an insane amount of views right now, and that, I think, is just one very quick example of just how insanely popular this game stands to be. And if you think about the popularity of Black Ops 1 and 2, some of the, if not most played historically games, the Black Ops 6 gameplay reveal trailer currently has 57 million views on the Call of Duty channel. That's beating out the Infinite Warfare trailer from 8 years ago that has 46 million. And the popularity of Black Ops 1 and 2 are incredibly interesting. Black Ops 2, I think, ended up being the most played. Over time, its multiplayer grew in popularity. It was very different than a lot of the other Call of Duties for people, and I think a lot of people ended up flocking to it. But Black Ops 1, at least in my mind, to this date still has one of the best Call of Duty campaigns. The numbers mason, the big twists, and it does seem like we're going to be getting a similar level of quality, if not more, in the actual campaign of Black Ops 6. I also think there's a factor of MW3. MW3 really brought the game down pretty low. Vanguard didn't do very well. The MW2 reboot, the continuation of the reboot from MW, seemed to get good reception, and then DLC that was planned to be added in to MW2 got repackaged and padded out and turned into a full release game that was a joke, and it was largely mocked and made fun of, and rightfully so. It should have been. It was a bill of goods. It was sold to people as a full price game, and it was not. And I think that's a factor, because I think it's going to drive more people to remember their love of Treyarch, their love of Black Ops over the Modern Warfare era. Some people just don't like the modern weaponry. They like more of like a return to form, or they like the clandestine nature of Black Ops. And I think that's going to play a role here in this game breaking records. There also is zombies. Black Ops 6 Zombies is likely going to get a lot of attention and, a lot of intrigue. We're kind of going to see that today during the COD Next stream. They're going to have gameplay of zombies, and zombies has long been beloved. As it first showed up, I think it first showed up in World at War. If I'm incorrect on that, sorry, but I believe that was the first time it showed up, and I remember my friends absolutely loving it, and it was never really something that I enjoyed, but long-standing fans of the franchise seem to flock to and really have a love for zombies. I think that's just another reason that this game could do so well, because that's just another bucket of players that you get to appeal to, make content for, and just get even more interest in your game to drive sales initially. So zombies will play a role. I also think the Black Ops 6 campaign looks incredibly promising. A lot of us grew up during the generation of seeing Bill Clinton on TV, watching these wars transpire, and I think that generation is the generation that also grew up with Call of Duty. So this is kind of going to hit home for us. Playing through a World War scenario, or even Vietnam, it's just a little too distant for a lot of us to connect with. So being able to connect with the story that's going to include figures like Bush and Colin Powell and others, I think is going to be a significant touchstone for a lot of long-standing Call of Duty fans. I have always enjoyed the campaigns in these games. I've always thought they were quite good. I've got some standouts and some favorites. Obviously, I thought the World at War campaign was very good, and then I really liked the Black Ops 1 campaign. So I think that's going to be another push here for fans that have been around for a really long time saying, oh my, Robert Redford's in the game. Like, I'm going to go play. I grew up watching those movies, or I grew up watching these news events transpire, and that's another driving force here. The reinvention of the movement, I think, too, can also elevate the PvP. I obviously have my own thoughts about arena shooters and how we're sort of seeing that become a tired genre. I have my own concerns about Splitgate 2 and its longevity. We've seen Concord completely fall flat on its face, not just because it's arena, but also because it's hero, shooter, and just sort of derivative. And I even think arena shooter for Call of Duty has a difficult task ahead, because so much of their player base now just really sort of lives lives inside of Warzone, which is understandable. I really do think there's been sort of a cultural bonding point around Battle Royale for the younger generation, and I think that's typically where they like to play, whether it's Fortnite, PUBG, Apex, or Warzone. That younger generation of players have sort of bonded with their friends and their circles of friends around playing battle royales. And the older generation, guys like me, you know, we're in our 40s and we don't really like PvP games all that much anymore, or if we do like them, we're not very good. We're kind of aging out. And so I think the arena shooter sort of meat grinder, I think is always going to struggle a little bit. But I do think the movement could take Call of Duty's PvP back into the forefront. We could see some very interesting developments with esports, with professional teams, with pro-level players, with high-level players just streaming or putting out videos. That sort of omnidirectional movement and the ability to do different things with dives and all of that, I think, could also then elevate the PvP to a place of prestige where people are going to want to pay attention to it. They're going to want to watch games. They're maybe even going to want to see teams compete. So they're basically getting to sort of fill three different buckets. You got zombies fans, you got people that love the campaign, and then you got people that are going to be interested in the multiplayer and that movement. That's a lot of different players. That's a lot of Call of Duty fans that could rally around this game at launch. So I could see it breaking sales records. I think player numbers could be absolutely insane because it will be hitting Game Pass day one. There's roughly 25 million people that can jump in day one and not spend a dime. They're already paying for Game Pass. So at no extra cost, they can jump into Black Ops 6 day one, 25 million people. There's also the likelihood that this game takes the record away from Starfield of the single most Game Pass subscriptions in a day. This is likely why they moved day and date to Ultimate and have raised the price to Ultimate so that when this game launches, they'll be getting more money from any of those brand new people signing up who currently don't have Game Pass. And then everybody else is getting grandfathered in. It's just in there in the mix as well. So there is a lot of things, I think, leading to this game that will make it land very strong and likely, as I say, break a lot of records. And we will be co-streaming and checking out the COD Next live stream. They're going to be doing that today. It is currently scheduled for noon Eastern. There's already like 6,000 people waiting, so you can watch it right here. They're going to show off Black Ops 6 multiplayer, Black Ops 6 zombies, as well as talk about the future of Call of Duty Warzone. So that's what I think about this subject. And now it's time to hear what you think. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Make sure you take a quick second. Check that like button. Make sure you've given the video a thumbs up, okay? Sometimes you have to like minimize chat to do that. But let's get a ton of likes on this video. Let's have a nice, strong start. We're already getting gifted members. We're already getting member renewals. Guys, as a real quick reminder, we're working on a milestone right now. We want to get 600 people at Member Plus and above, and we celebrate with like IRL streams on the weekend. I just kind of sat in my backyard and I talked to the Member Plus and the VIPs. That's a great reason to upgrade. You get more content. You get content that I typically don't do. I'm typically not doing IRL, and I'm typically not doing streams on Saturday or Sunday. So consider upgrading. Help us out with that. Jay Stubbles upgraded to Member Plus. He's the first one to move the count today in the live environment. We already had some people renewing during morning coffee, a great reason to be a member. And right there, Hanshot first, and so do you. Thank you, Jay Stubbles. And then a gifted member from Joker Quinn, and then a 5-bomb from Belfagor. That's 6, but then it's going to be 7 because Luke is coming in with a renewal as well at Member Plus. So that's 7 members that gets added to this count, taking us to 249, just one away from me having to start the day by gifting 5 back to you guys. Thank you so much for all that you do for the channel. And it says, thank you so much for always making us feel special. This is a community, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. I appreciate the renewals, the upgrades, the memberships, the gifteds. You guys are just the absolute best. And I just kind of threw together a little bullet point opener for today's show to just kind of walk through. Man, oh man, I think this game's going to kind of blow the doors off. It's going to be huge, and it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what the player numbers look like. Excuse me, because they've never had the game on Game Pass before. So 25 million people can just storm the castle. You know, they can just storm in. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. And a 5-bomb comes in from Belfagor and takes us past the 250. So that is going to be an Agents of Chaos. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate you continuing to support the channel with gifted members. And those of you that continue to upgrade to Member Plus, thank you. It's $1 more than the $5 standard membership. It's just $6, but it gives us that nice dividing line. It helps me. It helps you. We're doing more content. We got a big, huge, monstrous goal of getting 1,000 people at Member Plus and above. And then I have to do a PC building stream, which I know you guys are going to love that. And a VIP from Rygen. Thank you so much, Rygen. Almost 3 years plus. Lots of love. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that very, very, very much. I think it'll be another COD game, nothing special. I think the campaign's going to be excellent. I'm more speaking to this game is in a position to be one of the biggest, most played, most sold Call of Duties in history. I do. I think it's in a position to do that. It's going to break records for its own franchise, basically. If the multiplayer sucks, if the zombie sucks, if the campaign sucks, like, sure, that's obviously a possibility. I think they've had more time to work on this, which is great, right? How long have they been working on this? You know, hopefully they've been working on it for a very long time, given all the Modern Warfare stuff that we've been getting. So the longer dev cycle should yield us, I would think, good results in everything. It should yield us good results with the campaign, with the zombies, and with the multiplayer. Can't be most sold. It'll be interesting to see if Game Pass keeps it from being the most sold, Eugene. That'll be interesting, because Black Ops 1 and 2 are so popular. I feel like this game is going to sell insanely well on PlayStation and PC. I feel like it's going to sell really well there. I don't know if there are enough Xbox users that would have bought it that won't be to, like, pull the number down. Break records more than 3 days after release, though. Modern Warfare 2019 is an anomaly. In what way do you think it's an anomaly? Can you confirm what you meant by Vanguard failed? Well, it failed as in it was like, they admitted in the FTC trial it was one of their worst games. And yet, it was a commercial success. So I wasn't speaking to the commercial success of like, oh, it failed, it didn't make money. It's like, it was largely seen as a failure. Vanguard was largely seen as a failure. It didn't do well. It didn't get good engagement. It didn't get good praise. And they internally viewed it as their worst Call of Duty to date. And they said even still at top of the sales charts. So, like, when I throw around the word failed, I mean, I would never try to indicate that Call of Duty commercially failed. That's not a question. Vanguard failed as a game. It was viewed as one of their worst. Yo, Raphael upgrades to VIP. Guys, upgrades count in the count. They do. Even if you're already a member and you upgrade, we're counting that. Thank you so much, Raphael, for upgrading to VIP. I doubt Game Pass is slowing down. Most people using Game Pass are likely people who would never have picked it up anyway. That's my thought, Paul, is that most of the people jumping in on Game Pass are going to be people that, like, ordinarily wouldn't play Call of Duty, and they're like, yo, I'll try it out if it's on Game Pass, right? There are a lot of people that are like, I don't play Call of Duty anymore, or the last Call of Duty I bought was Black Ops 1 or MW3. There's a lot of people like that in the Xbox community that are going to be like, I'll jump in. You know, Narwaffle renews his VIP, 26 months and many more to go. Thank you so much, taking us to 257. Sorry for the clarification I was looking for. It was a terrible game. I didn't know that was what you were referring to as it's a top 5 selling Call of Duty games. It's actually in the top 5, as bad as it was. They seem to indicate that, like, they viewed it as one of their worst performing. I forget the phrase they used in the FTC trial, but they basically acknowledged that it was not one of their best moments. Game Pass has 34 million subs on last report. Yeah, but those aren't the people that can play Call of Duty day one. 10 million of those, roughly 9 million of those, are Xbox Game Pass Core, the people that got converted from Xbox Live Gold. So that's why I said 25 million. When it jumped from 25 million to 34 million, it was the Game Pass Core people getting added in. They can't play Call of Duty day one. Their subscription is just like an allotment of games. It's like, what is it? It's like 25 games or something. So the number of people that can jump in day one and play Call of Duty Black Ops 6 on Game Pass is around 25 million. Last count we know. I mean, we don't know if it's gone up or down much since then. It did 30 million units in 6 months upon checking. They said it reviewed badly and player feedback was awful. Yeah, I forget what they cited. It was 90% ultimate. Wait, you're saying that of the 34 million, you're saying 90% are on ultimate? No, what you're saying is simply untrue. I'm not sure where you're getting your numbers, but it was 25 million. Sarah Bond said something like 34 million, and then it came out later when she said that number, it included the 9 to 10 million people that added in from Game Pass Core. So what you're saying can't be true. There can't be 30-something million people at Ultimate. That's not anything that's been reported that I've seen. Everything I've seen reported on Game Pass numbers is it was at 25 million. The majority of the 25 million's at Ultimate. You are correct. I don't know if the number's 90%, but we were told the majority are on Ultimate. We've also been told the majority are on PC. It was an Xbox quarterly report. I don't think there's an Xbox quarterly report that said 34 million with 90% at Ultimate. You'd have to give me a link so that we could verify the accuracy of that. That does not sound accurate. That sounds counter to everything that was reported at the time that Sarah Bond said 34 million. If it says 30 million people on Game Pass, how do they have 100 million MAUs? They have 500 million MAUs because monthly active users includes people that play on Candy Crush or Minecraft. There's like 200-something million monthly active users in Candy Crush alone. We looked that up yesterday. So like when they say they have 500 million MAUs, they're referring to anybody who boots up a game of Minecraft, a game of Candy Crush, any of that. PC users aren't going to sign up for Ultimate. Yeah, I wonder, is the number that the vast majority of console users are on Ultimate because the PC guys don't have to sign up for Ultimate. PC players are not going to buy COD anymore. Just $10 on Game Pass. I mean, here's the problem with that prediction, James. I would think that let me just see. Let me just check something. Okay, I want to get the landing page up for us here. I would think this right here makes your prediction difficult. I think the vast majority of PC gamers are hanging out in Steam. And I don't think they've shown such a reticence to use other launchers. I don't think they're going to go over and say, oh, I'm going to use Game Pass in the Xbox Store to play Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I think they're going to buy it right here in Steam. I think you're going to see big numbers for this game on Steam. I do. You're talking about a user base on Steam that still plays CSGO. Like, I mean, I don't think CSGO and Black Ops 6 are similar, but I mean, that's a lot of people that are constantly playing a shooter that'll be like, yo, that Black Ops 6 is looking kind of clean. Let me check that out. That's not true. A lot of PC players don't see the value of Game Pass. Many of those games in Game Pass go on deep discounts on Steam. Why get Game Pass? Yes, Steam users have shown a large resilience against not just going to other platforms, but they like to grow their library. They don't want to have the game somewhere else. So I don't think they would be won over by, oh, well, for $10, I don't have to buy the game and I can launch this other launcher. The Verge have it up there is 34 million subs. Okay. Again, visual walkthrough. Your original claim was that 34 million subs, as in 34 million people that could play Black Ops 6, and I pushed back and said the number is actually closer to 25 million because they added in about 9 million people from Game Pass Core. Does The Verge back your claim that it's 34 million and that 90% are Ultimate? Like, I don't think that everybody got it wrong at the time, and suddenly we're learning that they actually have 34 million Game Pass subscribers. I don't think that that's true. Right here, The Verge. Microsoft's Game Pass service grows to 34 million subscribers, okay? That's up from 25 million previously reported. They revealed in the official podcast today, part of an announcement. It's the first time they've revealed this. Okay, I've seen growth slow down, says and it's clear that Microsoft is getting away to an ambitious goal of 100 million. The 34 million right here, Microsoft converted Xbox Live Gold subscribers over to Xbox Game Pass Core last year, and the company has confirmed to The Verge that the 34 million includes those subscribers too. While Xbox President Sarah Bond mentioned that 34 million Game Pass subscribers will have access to Diablo next month, the game won't actually be available to all Game Pass subscribers. The 34 million Game Pass membership number is accurate. Diablo 4 coming to Xbox Game Pass on March 28th, with the exception of the Game Pass Core catalog. Right? You got to read more than the headline, man. Reading, I'm a slow reader. That's what I'm saying. I was trying to help you. I was like, look, 34 million's correct, but they clarified that 34 million includes those new roughly 9 million people that suddenly became a Game Pass subscriber because they were no longer on Xbox Live Gold. So those 9 million can't play Black Ops 6. They're on Game Pass Core. So again, roughly 25 million can jump in day one. There's no growth for Game Pass subs for a while. The 10 million jump was all core conversions. Yes, that's what basically everybody concluded at the time, which I think is a fair conclusion to make. Not only that, I don't know if there's a 90% number. Game Pass 90% Ultimate. Was that ever reported anywhere? I'm not seeing any headlines to indicate that 90% of Game Pass is people on Ultimate. The only thing I'm seeing is that there are a bunch of games that got reduced by 90% for Ultimate people. I don't know if they've ever walked out and said a hard number. I don't know if they've ever walked out and said, oh yeah, 90% of our Game Pass subscribers are on Ultimate. I think they've always said the majority. But I think they've also said the majority of the Game Pass subscribers are on PC as well. I don't think we have hard numbers. I feel like that would have been reported. Eugene says, it's a cross-play. Oh, if it's cross-play, will 100% sub to Game Pass just to unlock guns? Gotta remember, so many of the COD sales are just Warzone players looking for the fastest route to unlock stuff. So I could definitely see a large number of Steam users subbing to Game Pass for a month, unlock their guns, and then unsub and go back to Steam. But do they not do things in the games throughout the year? Like, wouldn't they want to own Black Ops 6, Eugene? I swear I read it on a Tom Warren post a few months ago. There's always a possibility that you saw something that I didn't, visual walkthrough. But I have a very active Discord. I feel like that article would have gotten thrown into my Discord. I feel like I would have seen that like, oh wow, 90%? Even if it is 90%, it would be of the 25 million. That would be 22 million on Ultimate with only roughly 2.5 million people on standard Game Pass. That seems really high. That's hard for me to believe. That doesn't mean it's not true. That could be the true number, but that's hard for me to believe that like 22.5 million people are on Ultimate and only like 2.5 million people are on standard. Now, maybe that's what they're hoping for. Maybe with the change to day and date. I don't know. Maybe they're hoping that a lot more people roll up. Arena PvP is nothing more than a leveling tool for guns in Warzone now. I never see the Warzone players I watch go back to multiplayer after the first few weeks. So what you think is going to happen is, and Eugene, this could back my prediction that it'll be the single greatest like Game Pass subscriber influx since Starfield. I think it'll take that record from Starfield. You think a bunch of people are going to sign up so they can play for a week or two, unlock a bunch of guns, and then unsub. Morning, by the way, from Canada. Good morning, Timmy. Good morning to Canada. Appreciate you being here. And a 5 bomb from Jesse Ritchie. Somebody with a white badge gifting members. That is championship work right there. I still owe you guys 5 members. I was going to wait. I like to do the 10 bombs instead. So when that hits 275, I owe you a 10 bomb. If you guys upgrade to Member Plus, that counts. If you celebrate your renewal, just say, hey, I love my sub. Just you put that little box in chat. That counts too. So don't forget to celebrate your memberships. If you're paying for them, celebrate them. Get credit for that in the count. You can level guns and zombies too. Oh, I bet a lot of people are going to do that. I bet a lot of people are going to do. Yo, what's good? Guys, Feed still doesn't have a membership. We got to fix that. We have got to fix that today. And a single comes in from Silent Spartan and takes us to 263. Thank you so much, Silent Spartan. I appreciate it very much. Can I upgrade for my gifted? Yes, you should be able to. You have to do it on a browser. You go to the memberships tab and then you hit change level or see perks, something like that. It's one of those phrases. Zombies is what I'm looking forward to. I'm not even a zombies fan, but I'm like excited for zombie fans because I feel like they're this unique Call of Duty group that has dedicated a ton of time to all of the previous like zombie iterations, and I hope they get like a really, really good mode. Because my friends always loved it, and I was like, I don't really like this. I always wanted to play Headquarters or Team Defender at the time. I didn't like zombies. I wanted to be in, at the time, I wanted to be in Headquarters or Team Defender. A 5 spot from Silent Spartan. I tend to disagree with you a lot, but I appreciate the content that you make. You're part of my morning routine now. I appreciate that, man. You guys that sub, watch, listen, and debate and commonly disagree with me, man, I greatly appreciate your presence here. I really do. In a world of yelling, screaming, and name-calling, I think we model, a very good community of people just having debates and having a good time. And a VIP from Kyle Wilkerson, that counts. That's why you should celebrate him. That bumps us to 264. Thank you so much, Kyle. Black Ops Cold War Zombies was great. You've also been able to level up Guns and Zombies for a few games now. Oh, I bet you a ton of people do that. Soldier on Music with 27 months and a Member Plus. I've never been a big PvP or Zombies guy, so COD never did anything for me. Thanks for that renewal, Soldier. Do you have any interest in the campaign, though, Soldier? I think the Black Ops 6 campaign looks so good. It looks so good. I spent hundreds of hours grinding out the Zombies camo challenges, and I stopped playing MW3 right after. I remember working on emblems in the original Modern Warfare 2 way back in the day, and I remember stopping because I got so annoyed with some of the challenges. It was like you would go into a third-person lobby with somebody and trade headshots. It was all the stuff people were doing back then. I did it for like an afternoon. I'm like, this is dumb. And I never did it again. I was like, I just want to play, dude. I don't care about all this stuff. Severin says, I don't always agree with you either, Lono, but I'm not a turd about it. I really do. I do. In a world gone mad, those of you that are holding on to sanity, I appreciate it, man. I think we have a good time here every day. I'm a TPS guy, and I think COD only FPS. Oh, you're a third person. So no interest for me. I don't think I've ever seen anybody call a third person TPS. Roll Your D with a $5 super chat says, I've definitely not always see eye to eye with you over the last 8 years, but I appreciate what you do for the industry. Well, that's very kind. I don't know if I do anything for the industry. I feel like I provide entertainment to you guys. The omnidirectional movement is going to make COD more of a crackhead fest and looks worse than your usual COD Pro gameplay. I didn't get too much into that in the show open, but I think the Omni movement is going to be, it's going to be bonkers on PC. I really do. It's going to be bonkers. I think it's going to, it might get a little out of hand. Oddly enough, Lono, I think zombies would totally be your jam these days. I mean, probably. It probably would. Okay, so Xbox era from the ABK case. Game Pass Ultimate, according to the FTC trial, accounts for nearly 70 to 80% of the current Game Pass subscribers. So let's just go right down the middle and say and let's just say 75%. So the 25 million, 75% of that is roughly 18 to 19 million. So there's about 18 million people on Ultimate and about 7 million people not. Okay. So yeah, not quite the 90%. Chadwick's been gone for 4 years? No. It was August of 2020? Is that right? 2020 can F off. Late to the party, why is COD going to break records? Is it on Game Pass? I think it's going to break player records. I think it's going to potentially break sales records. Yeah, I think it has a lot going for it. I do. I think the zombies, I think the Omni movement for PvP, I think the campaign, I think they're going to get a really, really broad funnel of players playing this. And I don't know. We've had some people say that they think that Game Pass is going to keep it from breaking the sales records, and I don't think that that's true. Wouldn't it be 75% of the 35 million? No, because at the time of the FTC, they were not referring to 34 million. They were referring to the standard and ultimate. The 34 million number came later from Sarah Bond, much later actually, because the FTC trial was in the middle of last year, and then earlier this year, they converted people from Xbox Live Gold to Core and trotted out the 34 million. So no, you can't retroactively take 34 back. In the timeline. I'm not saying you were trying to do that, Jake. I'm saying in the timeline, we couldn't go back and do that. So yeah, it's around... I mean, it's not surprising that more people are on Ultimate. I just 90% sounded too high to me. I was like, that's really high for such an adoption rate. If it was at 90%, you think they would just get rid of the standard tier. Like, just everybody get on Ultimate. What COD had the mission The Russian? Do you mean No Russian? I think there was a mission called No Russian. That was in Modern Warfare 2. It was the famous airport mission that got them in some hot water, some criticism. Solemn says, 1, it's a Black Ops game. That's a leg up. 2, it's on Game Pass. 3, it's brand new COD with an era of most gamers we've... within an era with most gamers we've ever had. 4, everything they've shown makes it look like it's going to be good game on top of that. Yeah, that's essentially the bullet points from my show open. My show open was Black Ops is insanely popular. I said, MW3 is potentially going to help because everybody's like, yo, MW3 sucked, man. Treyarch, save us. There's a lot of people who are big fans of Treyarch. You have people that love zombies. You have people that love the campaign. You have people that love PvP. And there's reasons to check out all 3 of those. Does that make sense? Like, it's all Game Pass Core. Yeah, Game Pass Core does not get COD. Yeah. Yeah, there's no more Xbox Live Gold. They converted all of those people into Game Pass Core, and that's why Game Pass jumped from like 25 million to 34 million. You have to disambiguate between MW2-1 and MW2-2. Yeah, I say the original MW2. The original MW2 had a mission in an airport called No Russian. And it was like the infamous mission where you're undercover and you have to walk through an airport and everybody's getting shot. I don't know if they've said anything specific about campaign length, Dan. If we're talking about shooters, have you tried Hell Let Loose? I firmly believe that game will cause you to have a stroke. Hell Let Loose. That's like a familiar game. Brutal Realism. 2021 multiplayer tactical first-person shooter. No, I don't play games like that. I don't play games like that or Tarkov and stuff like that. I really don't play PvP games that much anymore. $20 from Vote Naturalized says... 2 questions for you. First, around what week of September do you guess Sony will reveal the PS5 Pro? Secondly, do you think COD devs may share details in today's show if Black Ops 6 will be upgraded for the PS5 Pro at launch? And they won't say a word about it. They would get in a whole lot of trouble. That would be a breach of NDA, almost assuredly. There's absolutely no way that PlayStation would let Call of Duty confirm the PlayStation 5 Pro's existence before they do. So that would probably turn into a lawsuit. Secondly, from what we're hearing, we're not going to get a PlayStation showcase, which is, I find, irritating. I think PlayStation should just come out and talk to the public and say, we're no longer going to do showcases. If you're no longer going to do showcases, then just tell us. If you just want to do state of plays, that's fine. I actually would prefer state of plays, 2, maybe 3 times a year over just this weird waiting period for showcases. So the PlayStation 5 Pro is allegedly going to be revealed at a state of play around the time of Tokyo Game Show. Now, we're hearing after Tokyo Game Show, which I think is incredibly weird. I don't know. I always thought they would announce it before, and then they would go to Tokyo Game Show, and they would advertise all their games. They haven't been to Tokyo Game Show in quite a while, so many people think that that's significant. Unless they go to Tokyo Game Show and do their state of play while they are there and announce it, I just don't know. PlayStation has to be one of the most difficult companies to predict marketing for because their marketing is bizarre. They do showcases, but then they don't. And then they do showcases where, they heavily lean on third party. And then when everybody else is doing showcases, they decide to do a state of play instead. And they don't say a word about a showcase coming in later or doing anything. It's just, I can't predict their marketing anymore because it doesn't make sense to me, because I don't think they care about YouTubers and people on Twitter. They make their decisions based on what John Q. Public's going to react to. And so I think that's why everything I think they should do or everything I want them to do, they tend to not do it, because I don't think I'm their target audience for their marketing. Tokyo Game Show is too late to do anything after, and it still be September. Yeah, the whole thing's weird. The distinction between state of plays and showcases, the naming of the conventions are redundant. The only difference is that the showcases tend to be longer. Yeah, I've always been annoyed by the way they market their games. I think it's irritating. They don't make a whole lot of sense. They don't make a whole lot of sense. They march to the beat of their own drum. Yeah, I mean, Tokyo Game Show goes until September 29th. So if they want to do a showcase, that Monday on the 30th? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the heck they're doing, dude. Really and truly don't. I need to schedule the COD Next stream. We'll go over... we always go over a little early. We'll go over like 11:30. So let's get this scheduled. If you guys are enjoying the show, take a quick second while I'm scheduling our next show, which is we're going to co-stream the COD Next event. And make sure and smash that like button. That helps me, and it helps you if you want more people here, if you want more people hanging out, you want the community to grow and more people to find the video. And the like button is a really effective way to do that. And so we greatly appreciate everybody who's been supporting the channel lately. If you watch and listen every day or on a regular basis, hopefully you can get that the blessed gifted membership from me or somebody else. And Concord's failure is projected to lose Sony nearly $200 million. That's a hard lesson to learn. I just hope they retain the talent. Closing that studio down, I think, would be an enormous mistake. It really, really would. So, yeah, we only need 10. We need 10 more likes to hit 200 likes, man. Get us going on a good start here, guys. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate everybody hanging out. And with respect to Black Ops 6... what part of the game do you guys feel like you're going to gravitate to the most? For me, it's the Black Ops 6 campaign, but there are obviously people that are going to beeline to the zombies. They're going to beeline to the PvP. I'm also curious how many of you are literally just going to play it so that you can unlock guns in Warzone. I think that's a common thing that we've seen. That's all people care about. So where are you guys on the interest, the interest level with Call of Duty Black Ops 6? Totally agree with Showcase's part. Sony's absolutely stopped doing them since Sicky. Well, they did one last year, though. And everybody complained about it, you know. And then apparently the public loved it because, you know, the June revenue numbers were great for them. I don't know. Isn't that double what they paid for the studio? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to make them shut them down or not. I'm curious to see how the Omni movement. I'm seeing campaign. I'm seeing zombies. I'm seeing people say zombies. A lot of you guys are saying zombies. I'm seeing some campaign. I have zero faith in the multiplayer being any good, says Mr. B. The offline mode with the game uninstalled, says Hilly. If multiplayer is like Black Ops Cold War, then that's where I'm going to spend most of my time. Yeah, I didn't play Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, but I feel like that was a time where people were very, at least now we're hearing this, right? It always feels like in the opening days or the opening week, everybody kind of complains. But I do feel like a lot of the Call of Duty fans I've been speaking with have good things to say about the Cold War game. They feel like it was one of the better games. They liked it. Somebody earlier, I think, said they liked the zombies from that era. I was not playing during that era. I took a break from the game. After Black Ops 3, I took a break. Soldier says, might be in on the campaign. I just find most run and gun type campaigns to be a little flat when compared to things like Titanfall and Destiny. Ben says, Cold War Zombies was really dope. It was like an open world sandbox zombies mode. Black Ops 6 multiplayer is supposed to be a lot like Cold War for gunplay, says Kingslayer, which makes me super excited. They said, isn't this the one, or was it MW2? I think it was MW2, where they revamped how guns worked, and then this one they completely revamped how movement works. Zombie players have not had classic zombies in a long time. I think more play zombies than PvP modes, excluding Warzone. Zombies in campaign should be good, says Mr. B. Cold War felt like Black Ops, but the broken spawn system and the skill-based matchmaking ruins PvP for me. You just finished MW2, that was okay. A lot of people told me that the MW reboot was quite good and that the MW2 reboot, well, it was the continuation of the reboot. A lot of people felt like it fell flat, it fell short. So I would be interested to see if that's going to help at all with the current situation where people are going to feel like, dude, MW3 was so bad, the modern era sucks, and is that going to drive people to say that, you know, Treyarch save us, Black Ops come save us? Like, will that help Black Ops? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like sometimes when a Call of Duty fails or doesn't do well, I'm using the word fail generically. Like, when a Call of Duty doesn't do well or the public reception's very poor, does that help the next game? Especially when you're going from MW3 to Black Ops. Like, is that going to create that idea of contrast where folks say, you know, yeah, there were a lot of people. Tom says MW2 is trash. They didn't like it. I liked the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. I liked it quite a bit, and then I played through it a second time to record game footage, and I didn't like it at all. It was so interesting to me how I remember playing through it on my stream, and people kept remarking, they were like, you know, there were a lot of glitches and bugs for me in this mission or that mission or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not having any of that happen to me. And so I had like a really good time. And then when I replayed it to record footage, I had all kinds of bugs and glitches, and I was like, yeah, no, I see why some people think that this is bad. I see why some people think that it's trash. You loved the round-based zombies, says Timmy. It was so hectic but fun. 2 expanded on level design, and they just abandoned it for 3. The Sicario stuff in MW2 was dope. I just love the voice acting in MW2. I really liked Alejandro, and I really liked Valeria. They were like my 2 favorite characters. She was the best combination of, like, that's how you can make a good villain, you know? Like, sometimes villains are, like, maniacal and crazy, and sometimes they're, like, they're extremely good looking, but also like vicious. And she was just such a good combination of the two. And her interactions with Alejandro was just great. His voice acting I thought was excellent. The COD campaign does have pretty good graphics though. I mean the one coming out in Black Ops 6 is looking kind of good, man. I actually said that could help its popularity because you have people like me. We didn't just grow up with Call of Duty. We grew up with the era of Bill Clinton and Colin Powell and Bush and the Iron Lady. Like, we grew up during that era. And so I think that's going to pull a lot of people in. I think they're going to see trailers, and I think they're going to see, people from their sort of era of getting exposed to global world events. And I think that's going to really help. Didn't Valeria retweet you or something? I think she retweeted or replied to one of my tweets because I said that she just did such an incredible job. I think I replied to like something that she had said. She was being really sweet on Twitter. Like, she was interacting with the fans and like she was kind of soaking it all in because I think a lot of people played through the campaign and they're like, she's fantastic. Like, can we get more of that? And I think they put her in a bunch of the DLC. Every time I saw a commercial for something in Modern Warfare, she was there front and center. So my tech review is live. Star Wars Outlaws might not be perfect, but frankly, I love seeing different technologies powering these AAA games. Snowdrop, Decima, keep them coming. I mean, it doesn't run very well at all on console. Will you try out multiplayer zombies or just the campaign? I will likely stream the game I will likely stream the campaign, and then we can save multiplayer and zombies for like community game night. Like, every Friday night, Madam and I just hang out with you guys, but when you guys hit the goal, we turn it into community game night. And so this is the perfect, I mean, when a game like this comes out, we tend to just like, hey, let's all get together and play. I typically don't stream like a public stream of me playing zombies or PvP because I'm not that good. Like, I'm competent, but like, I don't play these games. And they're not really my cup of tea. I have more fun just like, hey, let's all go play, in the community, as a community, like private games or stuff like that. Star Wars Outlaws is beautifully realized on the PS5 and the Series X. What do they say? Barring some issues? Bar a few rogue issues. Yeah, I don't agree. I don't think it's beautifully realized. I think it looks bad. I don't know. I feel like people are... I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but we went through this with Jedi Survivor. I think everybody's playing nice because it's Star Wars. I think the game looks bad. It looks like a previous gen game. They're going to go 3 lanes, able to read spawns and run and gun. The 60 for performance mode uses internal resolutions from 720 to 1080, 40 FPS mode between 930 and 1252. Much like Avatar, all these figures change rapidly, almost by the frame, and are reconstructed using FSR to a 4K target or 1440 final image in the performance mode. This is why I say never pay attention to that first performance guy. In what way, Eugene? What they're describing doesn't sound good. It's constantly changing. Like, the world jitters as you move to maintain frames per second. It's the same guy that used PS4 images in his GT7 Forza comparisons. I think last gen is harsh, but she isn't a great looker. You're right on that. I'm trying out balance mode and seeing if that's better. Like, when you're just standing still in like a cantina or a town, Star Wars Outlaws looks fine. As soon as you start moving around, it doesn't look good. It jitters and it shakes. And the minute you're in like open world areas, it largely looks like an old gen game. It doesn't look very good. It looks muddy and shaky. It doesn't... Yeah, okay, if I stand still in town, I don't care about that. Ooh, look at the pretty lights. I bought Vanguard a couple of years ago. Oh, Call of Duty Vanguard a couple of years ago. I may be in the minority, but I actually like the campaign. Maybe because maybe because of the character switching. I really liked the Polina sniper story. They fixed the performance mode for Jedi Survivor. I don't know if they got rid of all of the hitching, because there still was some. By quality mode, it's much smoother in high res. I do not play games at quality mode. I didn't buy a PlayStation 5 to play 30 FPS games. It's not an MMO. Why would you stand in town? Well, like, you're walking around town talking to people sometimes. Like, you're trying to get information and intel. There's a lot of, like, interaction with NPCs in the game, so. Whether or not that guy is reliable is superfluous to the fact that I don't think the game looks very good. They made decisions that make the game look muddy and gross just to maintain 60. And I'm never going to be like, that's fine. Like, I'm never going to, like, gloss over that. Or retreat to quality mode. Outlaws was another game that's downgraded from the trailer. Yeah, it's nothing like what they promoted in their trailers. They've done it once again. Ubisoft has done it once again. Like, surprise, surprise. They showed me a trailer that looks virtually nothing like the game when it releases. Guys, in about 18 minutes, we are going to switch to a new stream where we're going to co-stream the Call of Duty Next event. We're going to go over a little bit early and just kind of wait. So, continuing to just kind of like ask folks their thoughts on Black Ops 6, where they think they're going to play. I largely argued today that they're going to have so many buckets to fill with players from Game Pass, players who love zombies, players who love the campaign, players who love PvP and want to try out that Omni movement. There's a high probability I think this game's going to break a lot of records for the franchise. Concord player reports over 8-minute wait times. Yeah, I remember people saying on Twitter, like, I don't care about the player numbers. Okay, you will. How do you go from Valhalla running butter smooth at 60 to Outlaws having performance issues? Forced ray tracing. That's how. Outlaws backdrop is being a ground level character in most Isley-like settings, standing and walking around busy town, huge part of the game. Even when you're in town moving around, it looks bad. The frame rate's terrible. Constantly stuttering and dropping into like the 40s when you're in town. So the Omni movement is just better parkour. That's not true. Have you seen them show how the Omni movement works? Like what you're going to be able to do on mouse and keyboard? It's not just better parkour. They changed the fundamentals of how you can like actually move around when you're diving, when you're like diving over something, diving to the left of something, when you're laying down. Yeah, it's not just better parkour. They did significant changes to how you can move. To summarize it as just better parkour, I think is too reductionist. They did a lot more than just make like the parkour better. You're not just able to like dive and mantle better. It's completely changing the way that you do your directional movement. Wouldn't it make more sense for the Omni movement was designed with the controller analog stick in mind? Thumbstick has full 360 degrees. Well, I think you're going to be able to interact with the Omni movement with the controller, but I think mouse and keyboard is just so much faster. I think you're going to see the most insane stuff from mouse and keyboard with Omni movement. I mean, that I could be wrong, but that's just my prediction. I was like, based on what we've seen, mouse and keyboard players with the Omni movement, I think they're going to do stuff that doesn't even look. It's going to be hard to watch, to be quite honest with you. I don't care about player numbers and player counts don't matter. It has to be the stupidest argument I've ever heard. Yeah, for a game like that, like if If it was a single player game and you were having fun, then yeah, who cares about the player numbers, man? Go get your completion trophy and have a ball. There's nothing special about the movement. It's just new for COD. Well, and I think that's part of the thing that I think people are going to enjoy, because there aren't a lot of like super popular arena shooters that have let you do that. I mean, can you think of a PvP arena shooter that lets you move in the way that they've shown us in the trailers, Eugene? You're saying there's nothing special about it. Okay, well, how common is it? What games are you playing where you can move like what they've shown in their outlines and their breakdowns of how it's going to work? Like the diving and the aiming while flying, the laying and the complete movement while laying down. Like, I don't think there's a lot of games where you can move like that. There might be games here and there where you can, but there's only a few mouse and keyboard players left in COD. Oh, I mean, at a competitive level, they almost all play on controller, but so I don't know if that's going to change. I just think you're going to see people doing wacky stuff with mouse and keyboard because of the speed, you know. X-Defiant movement is very similar in Max Payne 3 multiplayer. Like I said, it's not very common right now, right? Yeah, sprinting backwards. There's not a lot of games. There's not a lot of mainstay popular games where you can do it. Sure, over the years, we've had games like Max Payne, Metal Gear 5 and stuff that have that type of movement. But like a mainstay arena shooter with PvP, I mean, you know. Controller's king in COD. Aim assist is too strong, especially rotational aim assist. If they tone down visual recoil is as strong as it is now, it'd be hard to track with a mouse. And Belphegor comes in and wakes the sub count up and takes us to 275 away from the next milestone, where I would owe you guys 5 members. Thank you so much, Belphegor. Consistently gifting members, man. You're crushing it. It's Helldivers movement? No. I mean, there's things in Helldivers that are kind of like this, but it's not Helldivers movement. It's significantly different. I've said since the movement changes were shown, the day someone dives away from me, does a 360-degree turn while in the air to kill me and a teammate, will be my last day in COD. Why? If you can do it too. I mean, I hear where you're coming from, Zelda Heart. You're like, listen, man, the first time some like sweatband wearing tryhard like 360 no scopes me while dolphin diving over a box, I'm uninstalling. You know, I kind of feel where you're coming from. I do. But, you know, the you know, you can do it too. Helldivers movement is some of the dankest movement ever created. Yeah, Creature doesn't like the movement in Helldivers. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to talk much about it today, the Black Ops 6 Omni movement. Their trailer says there'll be Black Ops 6 live gameplay reveals, Black Ops 6 Zombies, the future of Warzone, a mobile rundown of Call of Duty Mobile and Warzone Mobile, and then live gameplay from your favorite streamers. Helldivers prone to sprint is awful. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's supposed to be bad. You're supposed to be grunts that just kind of, run around and kill aliens. It's not supposed to be, there's not supposed to be a whole lot of finesse in Helldivers. That's kind of the point. How will the TTK be this time? I mean, time to kill in Call of Duty is usually pretty quick. I don't think that's going to change. I don't think it's going to become like a, like a Halo or something. Aim assist is definitely aimbot. I don't know about that. Movement like this has been possible for a while. There's a reason why it wasn't in first-person multiplayer game until now, and we'll see firsthand why within the first month of release. So you think Call of Duty Black Ops 6 multiplayer, you think it's going to be a disaster because of the movement? Helldiver's movement is great until you dive onto a tiny stone out of place and you just ragdoll into the floor, and for 5 minutes, you just can't move. Like, oh! And you just become cannon fodder. I got cleated last night. I was running a drill with the girls I'm coaching, and oh, buddy, like my strongest players accidentally cleated me right on the side of my leg. It hurts. In other words, I don't want to deal with higher skill players. MMR says hello. Well, there's this. It's like if you could just put all of the people that are just kind of running around and not taking it that serious, if you could just put all of those people in my playlist, Because the minute I get like a 1.0 KD, it's like, hey now, you're stomping. And it puts me into a lobby with a guy doing like a 3.0 KD, and he's like bunny hopping, he's diving and sliding around corners. And I'm like, I'm not going to play like that. And I don't like the game enough to put up with it. People are like, well, get good. I'm like, no, I don't really feel like it. I'll go do something else. It would be like going to like a local like sporting field or location, and you're just playing with your buds. You're just having a good time, and these guys come over and they're like, hey, you want to play? And you're like, sure. And they're like pro players in disguise, and they just dunk the ball on you, or they're kicking goals in soccer from like halfway across the field. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm just going to go home. They're like, why? Why don't you want to stay and get good? Like, no, not really. I'm good. I'll go do something else. I have better things to do with my time than to play against people who just live in this world. I've got so many other games I could play. I got a sock drawer I could organize. That'd be about as fun as playing Call of Duty against like the people who play like that. It's like, good for you, man. You go for it. You get in there and you get after it. The first short I ever saw of you were talking about the MW2 2022 multiplayer experience. Yeah. It's not a skill issue. It's I don't want to play a game like this issue. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I feel like what I have to give the game, I'm just not willing to give. Like if it was like a super complex RTS, right? Super complex real-time strategy game. I don't care to figure all that out. That's not the type of game that I would enjoy. Like, I just don't enjoy PvP games enough to be like, well, I'm going to really commit and get good. It's like, no, I'm just kind of having fun. I'm just laughing and playing with my buddies. And we are just in that unfortunate spot of, I've been playing shooters long enough to get categorized as a good player, and I don't feel like I'm a good player. So it's like, that's just the curse of being like, yeah, I've been playing shooters since Doom. So I'm a competent enough player that you're gonna stack me up here above a larger portion of the player base, and then I'm not gonna have fun. Like, I'm not at the level where I'm gonna get on a team and I'm gonna sweat and I'm gonna play really, really good or really, really well. I'm just competent enough that you have to take me out of that bucket of players. Like, you can't let me play with them because I'll ruin their day. I don't get clapped. That's the thing. And I'm a PC player who uses controller. I play with mouse and keyboard players, and I don't get wrecked every time. That's just untrue. I mean, if somebody's saying that you're getting wrecked, I wasn't speaking for Severin. I was speaking from my own experience. My own experience, anytime I played Call of Duty or Destiny, in the last decade, is I'll play 1 or 2 games and have fun, and I'll put up very moderate stats, like a 1.0. A 1.0 to me is not very impressive. That's like very average. But that's good enough for the game to be like, here, come up here and play with these guys. And then I get like a .5, and then everybody that I'm fighting against has like a 3.0. And it's like, oh. To me, I call that skill-based matchmaking whiplash. It's like I whoop up on people that are like bot level, and it's like, hey, buddy, you're really good. And then whiplash, it yanks you up here, and then you do really poorly. And then it yanks you back down here because it thinks you suddenly became a potato. And then it's like, oh, you're not a potato. And you're just kind of ping pong between those two experiences. I don't think either experience is very compelling. I'm either killing people that can't shoot the broadside of a barn, or I'm fighting people that I can't even see. It's like there's no happy medium. That's what happens after 40. You're not good enough to play with the really good people, but you'll ruin some noob or some kid's day. Well, right. It's like I'm competent enough that you're gonna think you're gonna place me in the upper, 30% of the player pool, and that bottom 70% that just is really bad. Like you're not gonna let me play with them for very long because I'm competent enough to make them think, oh, I'm getting stomped. And it's like, I put up a 1.0 KD. That's not stomping. Like, what? I've literally had people reply to videos or comments and like, you just want to stomp. And I'm like, since when is a 1.0 KD stomping? Who am I stomping? A 1.0 means I have 10 kills and 10 deaths. How? In what universe is that stomping? Like, what? Stomping is like 2 or 3 kills for every death because you're winning more of the gunfights than you're losing. 1.0? Like, what? You just want to stomp. Yeah, you know me, dude. Getting 10 kills and dying 10 times, that makes for a heck of a montage. I'm throwing that on my montage channel. Guys, I went ham. That would be like the greatest Call of Duty channel ever. Got another sick video for you guys. Really went ham in this game, man. 11 kills, over 10 deaths. Just unbelievable. Look at the way I handle each of these fights. All right, well, yeah, okay, I died. Yep, all right, got a kill. Yeah, I died again, but just look at the monstrous performance I'm delivering here. Jiminy Christmas. People are like, this is the most boring montage I've ever watched. Yeah, exactly. What I'm doing shouldn't be classified as stomping. It's not even close. Skill-based matchmaking proves people want easier games. Well, their recent report didn't shock me at all. Everybody acted like it was this, oh my gosh, what a revelation. They're like, yeah, when we turned off skill-based matchmaking, people quit more often. And I'm like, you don't say. When you stop protecting all the potatoes who play your game, they quit more often? Wow, that's a shocking revelation. No one would have thought that would be the result of turning off skill-based matchmaking. Frankly, I think this should be front page news. We turned off skill-based matchmaking and more people quit. Really? Saying that Lono is stomping is as accurate as saying Lono is living a luxurious lifestyle. That's right. Oh my gosh. It's so stupid. It's the dumbest thing. All right, hang on. I got to get this cropped. Let me crop this so that I can have, we're going to go start our new stream here. Yeah, let me just take it to that corner. Then we'll put it up there. And then we'll go, where's the bottom? Bottom, where you left them. Okay. Lono doesn't even check his corners. No, I don't. I'm too old for that. I don't have time to check corners. Who has time to check corners, dude? I just run in. Just run in the room. You know? All right, I'm going to provide you guys with a link, and then I'm going to redirect you over. We're going to go over. We're switching streams. This will be a new stream because I wanted to have their events separate on the channel. So do me a quick favor. Smash the like button. There's probably about 60 of you that haven't hit the like button yet. Let's end this stream with about 300 likes, and then you only need 5 more members, and I got to get 5, so we can do that once we get over in this new stream. Let's share the love. Let's grow the community. And make sure when you guys get over to this new stream, you hit that like button as well. That is now the link in chat. Make sure and click that link. Thanks so much for checking out this video. And this is going to be my official co-stream of the Call of Duty Next event. Now, this is going to be Call of Duty Black Ops 6 multiplayer, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Zombies, as well as Call of Duty Warzone, the future of that and more. So make sure you guys hit subscribe and the bell button for coverage on this channel, usually in the form of a talk show. And we are going to be watching this together. Skip ahead, you can see over there, skip ahead about 28 minutes if you're watching the past broadcast. If segments of this past broadcast get muted, that is something that happens when they play copyrighted music. So hopefully they don't do that. More and more companies are kind of moving away from using copyrighted music. So I hope that continues. I'm going to end the previous stream where I talked about why I think Call of Duty Black Ops 6 could break records, and I'm going to redirect people over. Thank you guys so much for hanging out for that stream. It was about an hour long, and we had a really good time.